Cricket, they say, is a game of glorious uncertainties. What more can actually be better than a T20 World Cup full of uncertain and unexpected results? Something that doesn't really happen at a global stage in cricket so frequently. To welcome to Sportstar Extras, and joining me, Amol, today is my colleague Shayan Acharya, all the way from Adelaide, at a very inopportune time to discuss anything serious in the world or in life. But Shayan, uncertainties of the game exposed all through the last 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, Amol, I mean, we watched, I mean, the biggest of the uncertainties perhaps had happened on a bright and sunny Sunday morning at the Oval. I mean, just to put a little context to it, this morning, I don't think neither Bangladesh nor Pakistan, let's be honest with it, I don't think they were too optimistic that they'll eventually make it to, one of them will eventually make it to the semifinals. I mean, who would have thought that South Africa, who just needed one win and not even some, plus minus subtraction, addition, nothing else. Just a straight, clear-cut win would have seen them making it to the semi-finals. They completely lost the plot. I mean, okay, the last time the two teams met in 2014, it was South Africa defeated Netherlands by just 6 runs. And today, I think it was a sweet revenge. I mean, we all know that South Africa is called the chokers, and yesterday, when Parnell said that just need to keep winning so that tag is lifted, and we saw what happened. I mean, it was unbelievable. And it's not just that. I mean, the tournament, I myself have witnessed a couple of upsets. The other one, of course, is England going down to Ireland. I mean, that of course you have to give it some little bit of benefit of doubt to the rain, because had rain at that point of time, it's like here and there, you never know, because in T20 is a fickle format, so you'd have as fickle as the rain, as fickle as the weather in Australia, so you really don't know. But yes, this tournament, I think more than the previous editions, this tournament has seen quite a few upsets, and this also speaks volumes about how the smaller teams. I mean, obviously, Ireland and Zimbabwe are no longer associate nations, but of course, how the smaller teams are actually coming all the way. But Amol, what are your thoughts and what are your views about the way Indian team is just rampaging in the tournament so far?
Yeah, for a change, India are into the knockouts, right? Something that we had forgotten. It happens in a T20 World Cup. On a serious note, the only team to have won 4 matches. Okay, I was not at all surprised. One, with their loss to South Africa, and two, with them being in the semi-finals. This was the initial projection. The only surprising bit for me with regard to India's performance is, in fact, everyone was tom-tomming about how a fit Hardik Pandya changes the whole equation. Hardik Pandya hasn't had a lot to do, or hasn't been able to do quite a lot with the bat, especially so far. Virat Kohli has been the standout performer. Surya Kumar Yadav has bettered the standout performer. I don't know how to express that. I'll have to be as unconventional with my vocabulary as Surya's batting, but sadly, I have my limitations. Surya Kumar Yadav doesn't with a bat in his hand. With regard to bowling, I still feel that the Pacers have outdone themselves. Pacers have been perfectly fine. As long as Bhuvneshwar Kumar is not being discussed for his role in the death overs, that means everything is going fine. With regard to spin, I still feel that they have missed the plot by not including Yuzvendra Chahal, possibly at the expense of R. Ashwin. Yes, it may have weakened their number 8 batting slot. Something that, as in the fact that they have so much of thrust on that spot, it was evident during that Pakistan win, but it also speaks volumes about the confidence that you have in your top 6 or 7. When you know that at the crunch moment you'll need a number 8 at some level, but I still feel they'll have to play Yuzvendra Chahal to get breakthroughs in the middle overs. That's the weakest spot. And obviously, the two openers, yes, Rahul has been scoring runs for a change over the last few weeks, but some things never change. Rohit Sharma's uh, inability to switch gears or to carry on post power plays, and KL Rahul's inability to score upfront. It's like even in this tournament, he has played two maidens as the first over, scored one run of the fifth or sixth ball in another match. That is it's okay. Eventually, so far it hasn't really cost the Indian team, but cometh the knockouts, it may turn out to be a differentiating factor because I feel in a 40 over contest like a T20 match, a team that plays consistent cricket for 38 overs ends up winning. And those 2 overs, if they are outright against you, they turn out to be the difference within the game. A maiden over can be touted as one of them. So I just hope that if these things are addressed, India can finally end the 15-year drought. But Shayan, just tell me one thing. I don't think you have been in the press box for any of India's games because you have been the rowing guy all over Australia. But beyond India and beyond rain, what is the feel that you have had in Australia? Yes, it's the national sport, but it's quite similar to what hockey is in India. It is the national sport, but it doesn't have so much of following as such. What's been your sense about the tournament? Has it generated enough buzz as such all over Australia?
Oh, Amol, I think you're right. I mean, so this tournament, what I've observed is, the fact that I also didn't cover much of India games, so also it allowed me to get an idea of how things are actually. So what I observed is, as far as a fan following and everything is concerned, is obviously centered around India and I would say Australia. Okay, the games Australia were playing, and in venues like Brisbane or Melbourne, of course, was a washout. So technically, you can't count that in because a lot of people couldn't come because of the rain. But in general, I think it was the crowd basically was centered around India and Australia. India for obvious reasons because India is that star. I mean, perhaps a top team in terms of popularity, in terms of that star power, the charisma. So India's games were obviously sold out of massive way. But it's surprising, even though we had some of the very good games, in the game against Pakistan and Bangladesh, given the fact is it's being happening on a Sunday, the summers are just setting in, lovely weather. So there only 12,741, or maybe India is 80,000, 90,000. So that speaks volumes, and that gives you a basic idea about. I think the tournament has not done well in terms of getting the fans when India or slash Australia is not playing. So I think that is a concern. But having said that, it's also I think that happens with over the years. What we have, I mean, you have also seen in our since we cover the cricket in the subcontinent, we also know that I think it depends upon the team that's playing. So if it's an India game, that obviously has a more because of the diaspora here. That's a huge population that local population people travel around. So that's there. But apart from that, I think apart from Australia and India, things haven't really gone that rosy. Okay, I'm not saying that they have a completely empty stands or something like that, but come on, a 12,000 or a 7,000 or a 6,000 turnout for a good game, for an exciting game of cricket, that doesn't speak volume about a World Cup tournament.
Yes, possibly because, like you said, in the first half of the tournament, the rain was a dampener. But as the tournament has progressed, the quality of cricket, the kind of results we have seen, has more than enough
Right.
made up for it, I feel. But if you were to take or point out or highlight two or three takeaways that you have had during your sojourn down under, what would they be?
I mean, see, in terms of cricketing experience, if you tell me, I mean, this league stage actually gave me not just okay, let's put it this way. So people in India, we obviously we are used to a certain format. We know that how the Indian team fares. We have certain expectations. Similarly, with Australia or South Africa or England, you have that fan base. But the smaller teams like an Ireland, like an Afghanistan, like Zimbabwe, Netherlands. How can I forget? These are the teams I know who actually, I mean, they play maybe Bangladesh for that matter still is a far better position. But the other three I'm talking about, Afghanistan, Zimbabwe, and Netherlands, they hardly get to play international cricket. But they're coming, and even if it's in bits and pieces performance, I mean bits and pieces successful performances, one or two matches, even then that's a huge moment for cricket in general, because you know the day when under Dave Houghton the entire Zimbabwe team actually performs, and then those that victory against Pakistan, they came very close to beating Bangladesh. It was just inexperience. But these are the moments you actually take back, and when you look back and say, okay, at a time when there's a franchisee league blooming all around the world, players are prospering. These are the content. These are the small teams from I mean, players from the smaller teams who don't have IPL contracts, who were not sure about what will happen tomorrow. They're actually pursuing their dream, and they're still keeping that thing alive. It's similarly with Ireland, because these players hardly get to play, apart from a few, hardly get to play franchise cricket. I mean, the Afghanistan assistant coach, Rais Ahmedzai, in fact, said that more teams should come and play us, because, okay, you have a Rashid Khan or a Mohammad Nabi who play regularly at a franchisee level. So they don't need that exposure, but the other players need. So I think these are the takeaways. I mean, these are the things, even allowed a lot of players to take note. Like, Sikandar Raza. We all know Sikandar Raza, what, maybe people who follow Zimbabwe cricket, they know what Sikandar Raza is. But these are the stages. Like today is Colin Ackerman. So these names, we have maybe heard of once, twice, thrice, but these platforms actually help them establish themselves on a regular basis. So at least people are getting to know these names. They're now more aware, and whether they get, like people are talking about, whether they get a IPL contract and all, that's for later. But as of now, as of today, as we speak, I think the biggest takeaway for this tournament in the league stage is that it has given a platform to a lot of, I mean, talented cricketers who so far were just, would be happy with just one or two mentions. That's, I think, the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, if I can just add to it, I feel that we use this cricketing chronology or parlance, saying, especially when it comes to Indian cricket, for someone to break into Indian team, you don't have to knock on the door, you have to break the door down. Okay, my point is, for most of the last decade, we have seen some of these smaller teams. One team does well or wins an odd match at a world event, especially in T20s. The fact that we have had multiple teams doing so well. Namibia, they could not make it to the Super 12, but they did beat Sri Lanka. We should not forget.
Right.
Scotland
Absolutely.
made it to the
Absolutely.
Super,
Absolutely.
Super 12. They beat West Indies. Look at what Netherlands have done. Look at what Zimbabwe, which is among the lesser six teams. Okay, so my point is, it's high time that they get more opportunities. They don't have to actually prove anything to anyone any longer. They are here to stay, especially in
Right. Absolutely.
T20s. It's time for them to get more opportunities. And the onus is not on the ICC. The onus is on the so-called big fish in India, international cricket. The more they play them, somehow try and figure out a way, the better it will be. And the other aspect for me is, obviously, this tournament loosely in the Super 12 was broken down as top six teams, one underdog in each group beyond the favorites, and the bottom six teams. Even that gap has reduced now. We have seen circles being formed. X beats Y beats Z, Z beats X. And this has happened with 5 or 6 teams in the same group. That speaks volumes about the kind of competition you can have in T20 international cricket. And if that is addressed and if that is channelized properly in the future, we will not see a disconnect in terms of bilateral international cricket.
I completely agree with you, and that's exactly, I think, a lot of teams have also been speaking about it, that you need that exposure. But Amol, tell me something. I mean, you have, obviously, I was here, but you followed I mean, the people who follow your tweets and everything. They know how passionately you follow the game. Just tell me something. What are your thoughts about some of the teams, like apart from India, like New Zealand, England, and Pakistan, the other three teams that have qualified for the semi-finals. Obviously, New Zealand, I might just add on a little, because I have had the opportunity of covering their a couple of them, quite a few of their matches, in fact. I think New Zealand actually picked up pretty well. That first momentum that they got against Australia, that actually set the stage for them. After that, it was just about maintaining, keeping the momentum going. And I mean, as we are all aware of, that New Zealand is a team that actually plays to the. It doesn't play to the gallery. It plays to the, by the copybook of the game, and their strategy has been very simple. They don't want to be explosive in the beginning. They just want to take it one thing at a time, address it, and that's exactly what they've done. They had a major concern with Kane Williamson's strike rate, which of course the captain has to some extent proven in the last match. And what I mean, the other day, we even was talking about it, is that in the practice session on the last couple of days, how Kane Williamson has remodeled himself. Like you would never see him taking off his helmet and then swinging the bat and then again going hammer and tongs at a net bowler. These are not quintessential Kane Williamson formula, but I think such is the nature of the tournament that even a little bit of old school cricketer like Kane Williamson also needs to come back and get into that mojo thing. So that's New Zealand for you. But what about the other two teams and of course India?
Yeah, India, I don't think I need to repeat a lot of it. Pakistan, I feel this is now Pakistan's tournament. Pakistan, all of us know that Pakistan can do a Pakistan when it's down in the dumps, like what Pakistan is perceived to be. A few hours ago, before we started recording, till then, no one had Pakistan remotely in their thoughts, like you said, as a contender. They have qualified for the semi-finals. Yes, they have had two losses. One of them, as both the losses were of the last ball. We should not forget that. We should not forget the fact that they haven't had a terrible tournament, despite their primary two batters not coming good. That speaks volumes about the depth in their team. Okay, so they are here. As my simple point is, if it's the tournament of unexpected results, if it's been the tournament of underdogs, it is Pakistan's tournament to win. Because all said and done, despite having qualified, for a change, New Zealand will not enter a knockout game as an underdog. They are entering as a favorite. That I feel might just work in Pakistan's favor. With regard to England, again, it's the same thing. One bad game they've had and a washout. Okay. They haven't been consistent, but I feel they would stand a better chance than India to make it to the final. That's my feeling. Because of all the reasons I have cited about India's combination issues, and England have found suddenly this Alex Hales and Josh Butler have found their top gear. Mark Wood is at the top of his mark, and when teams actually try and be conservative against Mark Wood, Chris Wokes has been walking away with the wickets. Okay, so I feel England are, and just like India have a sleeping giant in Hardik Pandya with the bat, England have had Liam Livingstone so far. He is just, as I just have a feeling that big knock is just around the corner, and we might see it on Thursday. The only differentiating factor between England being in the final and India instead of making it could possibly be Virat Kohli's love affair with Adelaide. But Shayan, let's conclude. I feel you have a flight to catch in a few hours. I want you to have some sort of a sleep before that. Let's end with a set of predictions about both the semi-finals and the outcome of the final.
Well, the one in Adelaide, so basically India and England. I think okay, it could be a 49-51 kind of thing, but yeah, it's still a little the thing. But second one, I'll make a prediction. I think it's New Zealand. First one, I'm not. Second one, I think it should be New Zealand versus Pakistan. I think it's New Zealand has the edge. I'll tell you why. Because my only concern with Pakistan is batting. Okay, Pakistan's okay. Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam, Babar hasn't been informed. Let's be honest with it. But there was a buzz in the press box today that why is the team management not trying to make a little bit of tweaking in terms of the batting order, because since Babar is not looking in the best of shapes. I mean, okay, today he was there for a while, but he looked a little uncomfortable. There's no doubt about it. So there were a buzz among the senior Pakistan journalists and the other people who follow the game very closely, that why are the team management not trying to just find a little bit of here and there, so that ahead of the semi-final you actually have a strong start. That's what you need. But as far as India and England are concerned, like I said, I think it's slightly still tilted towards India's favor because of India's options are a lot more. But then I also buy almost everything what you said about England. So yeah. But yeah,
I'm still waiting for your production. Sorry, cut action. I'm still waiting for your prediction, Shayan. Give me your lineup for the final and the champion. That's all.
I think the final should be between India and New Zealand, and yeah, I would definitely want India to win. But then New Zealand has the experience of playing, yeah, last year's final, so I'm sure they'll learn a thing or two. But yeah, my heart says it's India.
Okay. Uh, I'll go with Pakistan England final and Pakistan champion.
So basically, you want a 92 repeat.
We are all in that territory, and I'm sure we'll keep discussing it before Wednesday. For the time being, thanks a lot, Shayan, for joining us. Thanks a lot to all of you viewers for tuning into this episode. Do keep logging into Sportstar website and all our social media platforms for regular updates, not just in the world of cricket, but in the world of sport. Thanks a lot.